This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase, list it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
Because it's a really exciting time. And I think most people who are graduating are super excited. So you're probably not feeling this way. But in case you are, in case you're worried about being an adult, let this be a reminder. Do not let the joy of the season be taken from you because you're worried about the next thing. I know that the next chapter is just going to be that much better. It might be hard. It's going to be a different kind of hard though. College probably was hard too in its own unique ways. It's going to be hard. It's just going to be a different kind of hard that you've never seen before. So it might feel harder, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be so excited for it. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to or back to the show. Thank you so much for clicking on today's episode. My name is Lily. I'm your host. And this is a bittersweet episode. Quite literally about the emotion of bittersweetness. And don't worry, the title's not what you think. The podcast isn't ending. Let's just get that out of the way really quick. It's called The End of an Era and How to Handle Moving On. And it's not about the podcast ending, so don't freak out. I know you probably clicked on this really quick, like, oh my gosh, where is she going? Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I just wanted to talk about things changing. I wanted to talk about grad season, and I wanted to talk about, really this episode is for all my gals, maybe some guys, I don't know, graduating. And it is that time of year again where people wrap up school. I'm taking finals right now, you guys know. If you listen to the life update from a couple weeks ago, I'm back in school. And although I technically haven't graduated college, I've been doing life as an adult for about 3.5 years now. And I've learned a thing or two about the post-grad lifestyle and what it means to work a 9-to-5 and kind of just jump into the real adult world and how terrifying it can be. And so I wanted to do an episode all about that. So that's what we're going to chat about today is the end of an era and how to handle it. And I really think that there is an art form to moving on. And that's kind of the tough part too, is like, okay, I'm currently in this moment where you're probably taking finals. Maybe you graduate this weekend. Maybe you already graduated. Maybe you graduate in a couple weeks. Maybe it's a month. I don't really know what your schedule looks like, but you're probably in the midst of a lot of, this is the last time I'll do whatever, or this is my last college athletic event, or this is my last dinner with my roommates and we have to be out by Monday, or this is my last final and thank goodness because I'm so burnt out on school, I can't wait to be done. I think a big thing that happens in the end of college is, okay, I'm so excited to be done academically, but every other part of life has been so much fun. And for a lot of people, that's the toughest part because it's not necessarily the school that's tough to leave, it's the people. And I think college does a really good job of setting us up for living in community. And you're kind of in like your own little city, especially if you live on kind of more of a bubble campus. And college does a really good job of setting you up in this little bubble of community. It's like this little city of your own. And you have the coffee shop, you have the restaurants, you have the gym, everything that you could possibly need on campus. And then all of a sudden you're just out in the real world and your friends live hours away from you. Oh, that's the other thing. Like your friends live right down the hall. And so it's a big transition. And that's what I want to talk about today is that transition, moving on gracefully, and why it's so bittersweet, and how to not miss out on this moment worrying about the next. So we'll get into all of that in just a couple minutes. But before we do, if you guys listened to last week's episode, it was a very vulnerable one. And I am just so grateful for all the feedback that you guys gave to me on that. It's been really cool reading your DMs and just kind of listening to your stories as well. And it's so empowering for me, even though I'm kind of on the other side of it, but it's empowering for me to know that I'm definitely not alone in that journey, and empowering for you guys to know that you're not alone too. And so I just want to say thank you guys for your great feedback on that. And I'm so happy that it's resonating. If you listen to any episode of the podcast and it resonates well with you, I would love to hear what you think. And I would also really appreciate it if you left a review on Apple Podcasts. That for some reason just really helps boost the show in the charts, in the analytics of the show, like the back end stuff. It really just helps, like, more than you could ever possibly know. So if you do enjoy the show, please, please, please do not be shy. Please leave a rating, please leave a review. And it just truly helps me more than you ever know. And I just really appreciate that. So thank you guys for rating the show, for reviewing it. And if you haven't already, please do so. Next little update is that I created a bunch of Google Forms for you guys to, okay, I guess let me back up. I wanted to make submitting to the show a lot easier for you, because I collect like questions and stories and stuff for different episodes, but they kind of all just go everywhere, whether it's a DM or an email or anything like that. They're kind of just all over the place, and I never end up actually doing anything with those submissions because they're not organized. And I'm just like, okay, well, it would take me hours to organize this stuff, and I just want to record the pod and speak from the heart. So because of that, I want to use your submissions, your stories, your advice, your questions in podcast episodes, but I just need a good place to put them. So I created a bunch of Google Forms that you guys can fill out. Well, there's 3 of them. I might add more over time. There's 3 Google Forms that you guys can fill out if you want to submit a question or a piece of advice to the show. The first form is an advice column submission. So if you have a situation or a life circumstance that you want my 2 cents on, please don't be shy. Submit to me, submit all the details to me, and I would love to read your situation on the show and give feedback, because I can guarantee you, you're not the only one going through what you're going through. And it's really powerful to know that. So if you want to be the brave one, I challenge you to be brave and submit your situation to the show. And once I get enough good, solid questions that kind of have maybe like a general theme, or maybe just like life questions, I don't really know, we'll do a full big episode. I used to do these advice column episodes all the time, and I just kind of stopped, and I don't know why, but they were always super fun. So if you guys have a question that you want advice on, please submit them using that form. That will be linked in the show notes. There are also 2 other forms, and one of them is the best dating advice I've ever received, and then the other one is advice that I would give my 20-something self. And I just figured that those are 2 like fun little submission pieces that you guys can kind of work on. And eventually I would love to compile all of your responses and do a community episode of advice that you guys wish that you knew in your 20s if you're an older listener, or if you have some really good dating advice that you would love to share. I would love to do an episode all about that, because we all know that I kind of need it. So that's that. I will take all the advice in this circumstance. I don't like unsolicited advice, but here I am asking for it. So I'm asking for it for the greater good. I'm not asking for it to necessarily like be unsolicited. So it's not unsolicited because I'm asking for it. So anyway, that's that. Go check out those forms. All of them will be linked in the show notes. And then the last thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that we are doing Run Club again this Friday with a little devotional session after. So if you're interested in doing Run Club, if you're in the Annapolis area, we're getting a group of gals together and running about 2 or 3 miles, conversational pace or a walk, depending on what you feel like doing. And then we'll do a little devotional after, where we will crack open our Bibles and read a little something and just enjoy each other's company and build community. So if that is something that you're interested in and you live in Annapolis, just DM me on Instagram, 8020pod, 8020pod, and I'd be more than happy to share more details with you.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, You can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase? List it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
So let's go ahead and dive in. The end of an era, the process of moving on, that I'm graduating and I don't know how to handle the real world is a very real thing. It's a feeling that I'm sure a lot of you are feeling right now. And I was sitting on my couch the other day and I realized how many of my friends are graduating their respective schools. And I was like, dang, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people that are headed out into real life, and how cool and how exciting for them. And then I got kind of sad. And as like I was telling Lexi yesterday that I was feeling kind of sad, and she's like, gosh, you're so dramatic. And I thought to myself, okay, well then maybe I am being a little bit dramatic, and maybe I shouldn't, feel so happy for them, but also sad that they're leaving. Like maybe I should just like let it go. And then I remembered, you know what? No, like I'm allowed to have my feelings. I'm allowed to be so excited for them, but equally sad that they're leaving. So I was doing some journaling, and this is more about change than it is about leaving, because there are two sides to graduation. My little journal entry that I wrote the other night is more about change, but we'll get into the two sides of graduation in just a second. But let's talk about change really quick. This is a little journal entry from April 30th. So I guess it was last week. Every day I feel like I'm changing who I am, though sometimes I wonder and worry if anyone will be able to keep up with me and my ever-changing ideas, attitudes, hopes, and dreams. But who are we if we don't change? Absolutely boring. Change is beautiful. I should not fear it, because ultimately God never changes. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. His character is one of love, and he wants the best for me. He wants to see me flourish. And then I got into like some other personal life stuff that I'm sure I'll share with you guys at some point. But I was really kind of captivated by this idea of sometimes I wonder and worry if anyone will be able to keep up with me and my ever-changing ideas, attitudes, hopes, and dreams. And that almost immediately made me think back to when I decided to leave college. And I was technically, by credits, a junior, but I was doing online school, so it really didn't matter. And it was this process of like, okay, I was 21 at the time. And I just think about how many ideas, attitudes, hopes, and dreams have changed since then, since that moment, and how totally beautifully okay it is that that all happened. And then I just think about how many people have come into my life exactly when I needed them and stayed for a season or a reason, or maybe they're for lifers. But for the most part, people come into your life when you need them the most, and they do their job, and then they slowly just kind of like fizzle into the background. And I've been a fizzler for people, and I've had plenty of people fizzle on me, and that's totally okay too. So when you're kind of trying to wrap your head around the reality of graduation, know that you might have some fizzles, and that's okay. That's not necessarily something that I want you to focus on right now, but know that that might be coming. And we'll talk about that in the post-grad blues section in just a second. This episode might also be all over the place. I took crazy notes while I was brainstorming for this. I don't know if I necessarily organized them as best as I should have, but that's okay. This is more of a brain dump episode than anything. You guys seem to like those. And then I went on to say, but who are we if we don't change? Absolutely boring. Change is beautiful, and I should not fear it. I think I get worked up sometimes because I'm so focused on how cool here and now is and how beautiful life is presently that I forget that sometimes life can continue to just get better. And even in the seasons where I was really sad or really depressed and anxious, I was afraid to make changes because they were big and scary changes, but oftentimes the big and scary changes are the best changes that you can make. So graduating might seem big and scary, but at the same time, really, really, really cool and exciting, but it can also be terrifying. And that's okay, because what's on the other side of it is probably really, really cool. Just as college was really, really cool, real life is going to be really, really cool as well, but it might be terrifying, and that's okay. Real quick, I want to talk about the two sides of graduation. This is a concept that I'm quite literally coming up with as we speak, so bear with me. But the two sides of graduation, for a long time, I was the graduator, okay? I was the person graduating, and I was the person who was being celebrated, and the person who was like being sent on their way to some degree, you know, like go off, spread your wings, whatever, you know, go do your thing. But lately, I guess it's probably the past 2 years, I've been the person watching someone else graduate. And I don't think that the person watching someone else graduate and the person watching someone else leave gets enough attention. And I don't necessarily think that they should get a lot of attention, because it's not really about them. So it's probably best that they don't get attention. But I did want to touch on it really quickly. There is a book called Atlas to the Heart, and basically it's by Brené Brown, and she just kind of walks you through a bunch of different types of emotions and presents a little bit of background about them and some research. And there is a section on the emotion of bittersweetness. Is that a word? Or just being the emotion of bittersweet? And she says this: the bittersweet side of appreciating life's precious moments is the unbearable awareness that those moments are passing. She goes on to say this: I asked folks from my social media channels to share some examples of experiences that felt bittersweet for them, and received more than 40,000 beautiful, heartfelt comments. I don't think I was fully aware of the depth of humanity that lives in the curves of this emotion. Here are some of the most commonly shared experiences, with a few notes on the context. Watching children grow up, leaving a job, ending a relationship, graduating. Teachers watching their students graduate. Letting go of friendships, moving. She listed a couple more, but the ones that I just read kind of are all wrapped into what grad season brings to the table. And the one that really hit home for me was like teachers watching their students graduate. Because I was like, dang, I'm not a teacher, but like some of my favorite people are like leaving town. Like that's kind of sad. And so I kind of just got into this like journaling session of like, what is the feeling of bittersweetness? And it's those two sides to graduation, essentially, of like being so happy for the person and wanting them to just be showered in love and attention and excitement and grad gifts and parties and cards, but then also being like, dang, you're the one leaving and I have to stay and I have to deal with you leaving. And that's kind of sad. So it really is this mix of letting go and complete and utter gratitude for what just went down. I know that I talked a lot about college graduates, but if I could give high school graduates, and maybe this applies to college, but I think it really applies to high school graduates. If I could give you one piece of advice, it would be this: your parents right now are feeling that side of graduation of you're leaving and I'm staying. And when I was a senior in high school, I just graduated, I think I was kind of bratty, and I was just excited to get out and excited to leave and ready to go. And I know you're so ready to go, but it's going to be an adjustment for you and an adjustment for your parents. And you're not out of the house yet. So come home for dinner sometimes, text them where you're going to be, and just know that you're probably going to miss them a lot more than you think you are. Why am I going to cry? But yeah, I mean, I was just kind of a brat my summer before I left for college, and I really wish I wasn't. And the whole you're going, I'm staying, I have to adjust to the same life without you is really a weird side of the coin. So yeah, I don't know. I just kind of keep that in mind, and you'll probably completely disregard this advice, but if you are listening, please just try to keep that in mind of like, you're graduating and your parents probably feel so excited for you, but it's so bittersweet. Just remember that you're not moved out yet, and come home a couple times during the summer and keep them in the loop, and they'll really appreciate it.
Earning your degree online doesn't mean you have to go about it alone. At Capella University, we're here to support you when you're ready. From enrollment counselors who get to know you and your goals, to academic coaches who can help you form a plan to stay on track. We care about your success and are dedicated to helping you pursue your goals. Going back to school is a big step, but having support at every step of your academic journey can make a big difference. Imagine your future differently at capella.edu.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. With over 122 million parts, you can make sure your number one ride or die stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply.
All right, let's talk about moving on gracefully. Let's talk about the post-grad blues. This term post-grad blues is a real one. I think like 22 to 23 is a really hard year. Trust me, it was the hardest of my life. Because for the first time, you're doing things that you've never done before. I think one thing that I learned really quickly when I started working like a big girl 9-to-5 job was just how much of your life is just work or getting ready for work or going like driving to work or like meal prepping a lunch to go eat it at work. Like literally your entire life revolves around work. And so I really, really, really encourage you, if you're headed into a corporate job, make time for your friends, but not just any friends. Make time for the friends that make you feel good. Really cherish your Saturdays and Sundays. It goes by so fast. Cherish those after work moments where you just get to come home and chill and know that if all you can do at night is just kind of like chill on the couch, that's totally okay because you worked really hard during the day. Like know that that's okay. Know that it's completely normal to feel sad, to feel anxious, to feel happy, to feel all this whole range of emotions when you're learning to adjust to your new life, because that's exactly what it is an adjustment. I encourage you to find a fun adult hobby, whether it's pickleball or knitting or I don't know, just like something fun that you can come home and be like, you know what, I really am looking forward to embroidering my new sweatshirt, or like literally whatever you decide to do. Find some fun adult hobby and just really try to tap into like the extracurricular activities or the potential of extracurricular activities of your adult life, because that's where you're going to make new friends and really just like settle in deeper to your community. Also work hard to find a church, a club, some sort of group that can really help ground you and plug you into new places into the community. I firmly believe that one person can make such a difference in your life. And I've got one friend that I met, and I kind of just like, I met this friend and then like things just started kind of happening and I could kind of track it all back to this one friend. And so I am forever grateful for that friend. We're not as tight as we once were, but I think it's just pretty cool how one person, one friend can have such a ripple effect on your life. And you never know who you're going to run into, but you also never know whose life you're going to change. That being said, don't forget about your college friends, okay? Don't forget about those awesome people that you just spent the past 4 years with. And I read somewhere, and I feel like this is true, you have to visit your friends within the first like 3 months of them living in a new city. And I don't know the exact statistics, so don't quote me on this, but apparently your chances of staying friends for the rest of your life are higher if you go visit them in their new spot. So if you have time, if the new job allows, if you're within, driving distance or whatever it is, go visit your college friends in their new places. I think it's important to keep up with your friendships. Also call your friends, check in. You guys are probably all going through similar stuff, even if you live states away. So don't be shy, call them. Sometimes just a couple minutes on the phone can really change your perspective on the whole day. So phone call, never hurt anybody. It's one of my favorite things to do is just call and bother my friends. Alrighty, last thing I want to talk about today is the concept of foreboding joy. Foreboding joy is also an emotion in the Atlas of the Heart book that I wanted to touch on. It's essentially the concept of being afraid of leaning into wonderful moments because you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. In other words, it could mean being apprehensive to enjoy the present moment because you know that something else is coming after it that isn't as good as this moment right here, right now. And I think this emotion, along with bittersweet, kind of go hand in hand for grad season, especially if you're the person on the sidelines, because you're kind of like, gosh, this is such a happy, exciting, joyful moment, but I'm also sad because this person's leaving. Or maybe that's you as the graduate, you know, this is such a happy, exciting, joyful moment, but I'm sad because I'm leaving, but I'm also so excited to go see what's next. And so the idea of foreboding joy essentially means that you're stopping yourself from enjoying this moment because you're waiting for something painful to happen. And I want to remind you not to push away the goodness, not to push away all the cool, incredible things that are about to happen because you're worried about adulthood. I wrote this down in my journal. Don't let the joy of this season be taken from you because you're waiting for something bad to happen or you're only focused on the negative. Because it's a really exciting time. And I think most people who are graduating are super excited. So you're probably not feeling this way. But in case you are, in case you're worried about being an adult, let this be a reminder. Do not let the joy of the season be taken from you because you're worried about the next thing. Just be present. Be grateful for all the fun that you had. Be grateful for the friends that you made, for the lessons that you learned, for the classes that you took, for the major that you earned, that you worked so hard to earn. I know that the next chapter is just going to be that much better. It might be hard. It's going to be a different kind of hard though. College probably was hard too in its own unique ways. It's going to be hard. It's just going to be a different kind of hard that you've never seen before. So it might feel harder, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be so excited for it. So for those of you who are not graduating, reminder, it's not about you. You can be sad, journal about it, write about it, but it's not about you. Let your people spread their wings and go and leave and be happy and cheer them on from the sidelines, but it's not about you. And the people who are graduating, who are leaving, be happy in this moment, live in the present, soak it all in. It goes by so fast. It goes by so fast. You'll blink and you'll be like, dang, it's already August and I'm already starting my job and I've already moved into my new apartment and I'm already doing whatever kind of training or whatever it is. I don't know. Soak it all in. Enjoy this time with your family. It's going to be so good. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. And I cannot wait to watch you guys spread your wings. I love you all so much. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give it a rating and a review. That just helps more people find and listen to the show. I love you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon.